with a batting average like a pitcher. Why are we expected to just take Dr. Fauci's word as gospel? Let's get into it with tonight's super smart panel. We've got Real Clear Politics co-founder and executive editor Tom Pevin is back. She's the correspondent for The Greg Gutfeld Show and host of Sincerely Kat on Fox Nation. It's Kat Timpf. And Democrat strategist, radio host, and Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall rounds out the panel. Welcome, everyone. I will start with you, Tom, because people have grown beyond frustrated. And now they're hearing from other doctors like Marty Makary. I interviewed him last night. He wrote a great op-ed in the Wall Street Journal saying, you know, given the depths of these new COVID numbers and how fast they're falling, how many people are being inoculated, and how many people who've actually contracted COVID without even knowing it, our return to normalcy could be as early as spring, this spring. So people hear stuff like that and they're like, why are we only listening to one guy when clearly there can be a difference of opinion on these important subjects?
Right. And look, there are a lot of components to this, right? Fauci is the preeminent expert. He's been in the government for a long time. He started working in the AIDS crisis, but the media sort of used him as this, soothsayer, and everything that he said was to be taken as gospel, not to be questioned. There were to be no dissent, no other alternative theories. And even Fauci now, this is a virus we'd never seen before. So he was kind of making it up as he goes along. But more importantly, he's a virologist. He's a bureaucrat. He is not an economist. He is not he's not a therapist. He doesn't understand a lot of the other aspects of this crisis. And so for those reasons, I think it was a mistake to just rely on him. And the media propped him up as the first and last word on the crisis, when in fact, even he now admits he was sort of making it up and fudging the numbers as he went along to enhance the narrative that he wanted to present to the American people.
But we have to realize that a lot of this is ongoing. A lot of this is evolving. And because there are parts of it as lay people that we don't understand, it doesn't mean, Kat, that we just have to subscribe to one person's opinion as gospel, because a lot of it, especially in the beginning, it was opinion. It was looking at mysterious data and trying to make sense of it. But there were differences of opinion, and now those differences have greatly affected people's lives. And, it's like, I look at this, why would you get the vaccine if you think it's not going to do you any good? Yeah. So, where has the skepticism been?
I think a lot of people are just over it at this point. I mean, this is a huge ask. This has been about a year of our lives with no end in sight. And then he said, of course, on Monday, hey, just because you're vaccinated, you shouldn't go eat indoors. Just because you're vaccinated, you shouldn't go to a movie theater, because we need to protect, as he called it, the safety of society. But what bothers me about that is the implication that not doing those things protects the safety of society, because it doesn't, because then we're not a society at all. We haven't been a society. A society is a group of people that interact socially on a regular basis. It's not a bunch of people all locked away in their individual homes or their individual apartments. So you can't just be saying, oh, we need to keep society safe. We've lost society throughout the past year entirely. And that is something that matters to us as human beings, not just for our mental health, but for our physical health as well. Yeah, and I think about some of these lockdowns, like, I haven't seen my parents in 15 months. It's the longest I've ever gone without seeing my mom. And, it's like, I can't wait to get back home and see my family, Leslie. And, you look at the numbers from California, and they're the same as the numbers in California and Texas. In Florida and Texas. And that means, I don't know if your kids are in school. I hope they are. Kids in LAUSD are not. Kids in middle school and high school in New York City, they still are not. They'll be lucky if they go one day a week before September. Your thoughts?
Kat, I love you, but, when we talk about we're over it, I'm sorry. You guys know I'm married to a physician. And I hear from the healthcare side of things. and they're they're over it. They're over not having enough body bags. They're over not having enough beds in the ICU.
Every single
They're over
ruling.
having to,
I have followed every single rule the entire time.
That is such propaganda.
There's also a mental health crisis. There's an economic crisis. I completely understand the seriousness of the health aspect of this, which is why I followed every single rule the entire time.
Everyone does.
But I am
Everyone
not
has.
saying that that's the only thing to think about, because these other things are serious too, and they also have physical health implications, including early death.
Yes, and the seniors
I
and the
think
students are the ones who should have been taken care of. Sorry, Leslie, go ahead.
I think that being a parent of 2 children, and to answer your question, grades 3 through 6 will go back mid-March. K through 2 are already back, depending on where, because when San Diego opened up full throttle, 4 days later, 100 kids had to be quarantined because they had come into contact with somebody else. We don't know if it's a child or an adult that had COVID. The list goes on. The bottom line is, look, no, Fauci isn't the end-all and be-all, but the problem with COVID for medical scientists, everyone who's giving us information, CDC, NIH, Fauci, my husband, everybody out there.
Not everybody. Do not say
They're
everybody, because all it takes is one differing opinion from the former head of the CDC.
There are many differing opinions.
Yes, exactly.
There are many differing opinions.
That doesn't include everybody when you say that.
Kennedy, they
Please
don't, they
say
don't
that.
differ, but
you are employing a universal that is false.
They do not differ on things like how it is transmitted, which is from droplets within our nose and our mouth, and the belief that the mask, when over your face, can prevent those droplets from getting to someone else
you know what?
that may not be as healthy as you.
Droplets know nothing of lockdowns. And therefore, when you have a lockdown in one state and no lockdown in the other state, and the numbers are the same, that means that the lockdowns in the name of safety are not working. And that's why people are pissed, and rightly so, because they have been lied to in order for government to stay in control. The panel returns a little bit later. All right, the panel has returned. Tom Bevan, Kat Timpf, Leslie Marshall. Your thoughts, party people? What'd you think of the events with Tiger Woods today, Tom?
Well, I'm a huge golf fan. I'm a huge Tiger Woods fan. I, like you, hope that he's able to come back from this. But, I mean, look, the biggest thing in golf, other than what you've got between your ears, are, below your waist. And injury to like an ankle, knee, legs, those could be significant. And so we'll have to see how he comes out of this. But obviously hoping and praying that he's able to make a return to golf.
Yeah, he's going to be the $6 billion man, Kat. If there's anyone on earth that can do it, it's Tiger Woods, I have to say.
I completely agree. It was obviously shocking news to even see that this happened. And, you don't think about things that can happen like that in a split second. I'm glad to, see he should be okay. And I also would love to see him, be able to return to golf.
What'd your husband say about it, Leslie?
Haven't talked to him yet. He's working. When I first saw it trending, I thought, oh, no, because he's been involved in car accidents in the past. He is getting older. To Tom's point, your leg's very valuable as a golfer. Certainly prayers for him, his recovery, and to his family. Yes,
I hope to have a Perkins close by, so someone there can cheer him up. I'm sure they do. All right, back in D.C., I can only say that because I know he's going to be fine. President Biden's cabinet nominations are a different kind of wreck. Tomorrow, the Senate will vote whether to confirm Neera Tanden, Joe Biden's pick for the Director of Office and Budget Management, and the brakes have been pumped there very hard. The most important Democrat in the Senate, Joe Manchin, King Joe, says he will not vote to confirm Tanden over her tweets calling Republicans frauds and comparing them to vampires and Voldemort. And she did call Mitch McConnell Moscow Mitch, which I think he liked. They deny, okay, very good. Republicans criticizing also former California Attorney General Javier Becerra in his confirmation hearing for Secretary of Health and Human Services for his lack of experience as a health official, because he has no experience. So are Biden's picks really a total mess, or is this just politics? Once again, Tom Bevan, Joe Manchin is the most important man in the world. I think he loves this power. I think Joe loves going, screw West Virginia. What do I think of this?
Yes, but actually the most important senator in the world right now, at least as far as Neera Tanden and Joe Biden are concerned, is Lisa Murkowski.
And Kristen Sinema.
Well, she might be able to save him if she comes out in favor. I don't think she's made an announcement just yet, but obviously that nomination is hanging by a thread, and it's because of her sort of, being a partisan warrior in the past and the mean tweets and all that. Javier Becerra is actually the one who, I think from a conservative perspective and Republican's perspective, is more problematic from a policy standpoint. I mean, and they knocked him up pretty good over, suing nuns. He's the sort of enforcer of the California lockdowns. I mean, he has some real problematic policy positions in his past on partial birth abortion and the like. And so I'm not sure whether he's going to get through or not. He probably will. But overall, Biden's actually done a pretty good job, and his nominees have gotten through with surprising bipartisan support.
And they have different issues with both of these nominees, Kat. And, there are people like, it's so sexist that they're not going to confirm Neera Tanden. It's not. She's a partisan person who oversees a massive, massive bureaucracy if she is, in fact, if she secures the nomination.
Yeah, it's not as, I don't get the knee-jerk sexist thing. There's lots of people that don't like me, and I never am like, that's sexist. I'm usually like, you may have a point. I agree sometimes. But honestly, like, this is a bipartisan position. She has, some of the things she said are kind of not just calling into question whether she could work with the other side, but also sort of alluding she doesn't even see them as actual humans. And I think the reason that's so interesting in this particular case is that Joe Biden ran a campaign on unity. He made sure to come out and say, hey, if you're mean to someone at work, if you're mean to a colleague, then you're out of here. I don't put up with that. So if he's trying to draw that distinction, that a lot of people have said, oh, you weren't upset about Trump being mean. Well, Trump obviously said a lot of horrible things, right? But Joe Biden is trying to strike a different tone. And if you do have these attitudes towards other people, it's going to be hard to work with those people.
I think that she was the sacrificial lamb. I really do, Leslie. I think of all of the nominees that Biden put forth, he knew that she was going to be the biggest lightning rod for criticism. And therefore, it's like, and he's nominating her for a very massive post. So if her nomination is tanked, I don't think it's the end of the world for him. And I think she was the sacrificial lamb.
I'm not sure she's sacrificial lamb, but I would agree that it doesn't, tank it for him necessarily if this goes, awry. We don't see most left or right, Democratic or Republican presidents have all of their nominees swim through. It's almost like the responsibility of the opposing party to say, but you said this on March 5th. By the way, Kat, if people don't like you, hold my beer, honey.
No one told me there was going to be beer.
But I want to say regarding Neera Tanden, look, if somebody's talking about lack of experience or somebody is talking about, policies or her concern, as you had pointed out, Kennedy, in the position that she would have if she were to be confirmed. What we're seeing emphasized, even by Joe Manchin, what we're seeing emphasized are things she has said about other individuals, people she's sitting in front of right now or just has on Twitter,
hey,
especially in light of the last 4 years.
Yeah, guess what, Leslie? And this is what's
tweets.
Really rich about Neera Tanden, because she's facing opposition literally from every side. Because it's not just Joe Manchin, the king of these United States. It's not just Republicans, predictably, who have an issue with some of the things that she said about Republicans, and even those Republicans in the Senate who are going to confirm her. Bernie Sanders won't commit to a yes vote.
But that's because she tweeted bad about him on numerous occasions.
What the hell was she thinking if she wanted to have a spot in a Democrat administration? Like, if you don't care about your political future, then keep lobbing bombs.
Talk about people behind their backs like a decent person.
And then she tried to delete all of her tweets. It's like, it's a digital record. There are so many people who dislike everybody, Tom. They're going to screen grab all of those tweets, and that's what they did, and they read them back to her, and she's like, I'm very sorry. I wish I hadn't said that. It's like, at least own it, girl. Last word.
Well, and it wasn't just mean tweets. I mean, she tweeted some conspiracy theories, right, that Russia had fixed the election for Donald Trump and some other things that were, problematic. And so it wasn't just mean tweets, although that was certainly a part of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not opposed to mean tweets all the time, but man, if you're going to try and put on that bipartisan hat, then you got to take off the clown hat at some point. I don't think she's ready to do that. Party panel, thank you. Always good to talk to each and every one of you, Tom, Kat, and Leslie. Right there.